And on today's show, how to turn referrals into introductions. Part 4 of this week's series on acquiring high-value clients through referrals and introductions with President of Referral Coach Academy, Bill Cates. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Innsmark, Life Specs, and Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Thanks, Steve.
Day 4.
Yes.
Listen, I highly recommend that if you're just coming to our show just today, you need to go back and watch Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for a good tutorial experience, because you're going to be lost today without the kind of building blocks that we put in on the first shows Monday through Wednesday. We have talked about this in the past, and we want to talk about it again. There are books out on Amazon.com where Bill has authored. One of them is called Get More Referrals Now. My favorite title, Don't Keep Me a Secret, which is one of your big mantras. And the third one is Beyond Referrals. And you hop out to Amazon.com or at Bill's site, and you can go ahead and order those. I highly recommend, especially that second one. I love that one. Now, let's go talk about it. Bill, we're talking today about the way to get introductions. I didn't know there was a difference between referrals and introductions. Kind of give me the yin and yang on that.
Sure. You may remember from the first day we talked about the perpetual revenue system. And first we get the referral, and some people will be getting referrals without asking for them, and that's great. But then we got to turn a referral into a connection, into an introduction. And there's some real benefits here of thinking in terms of introduction. The do not call regulations, right? We just can't call people willy-nilly anymore. We got to get connected. Getting through caller ID and all the different ways, it's so hard to reach people these days. People are crazy busy. Our affluent individuals, particularly hard to reach, right?
And they have gatekeepers.
They have gatekeepers. And so how do we get someone to pay attention to us trying to connect with them? We get introduced. We get connected. And here's my overarching thinking around getting connected. And I borrowed this really from the Food and Drug Administration, right? So when the Food and Drug Administration is thinking about approving a drug for the market, they're looking for 2 criteria. Is that drug what? Safe and effective, right? Is it safe and effective? So is the introduction safe and effective? Meaning, I want to make sure you, as my client introducing me to a friend, feels comfortable, it feels safe to introduce me. The friend, the new prospect, is feeling comfortable in this introduction. And it's effective, meaning I've at least piqued the interest of this prospect so they're willing to hear from me. So I want to make sure that we engage in a conversation that creates the best possible introduction.
Now, I noticed in some of your seminars that you talk about a lot of people take you up on your word, and they'll say, I got the introduction, and you're doing it. But sometimes they leave it fall through the cracks.
Yes.
Talk about that, because I think, there's follow-up on your own, it's your own mantra. You need to follow it up on your own marketing as well.
Right. This is where it breaks down for a lot of people. So they're getting referrals, but they're not getting connected. So first of all, this is our overarching thought, safe and effective. Okay, so to do that, it's got to be a collaborative process. So you and I have to think through the introduction. So I'll say, Steve, let's talk a little bit about how you introduced me with George. Or my guess is George would like to hear from you before he hears from me. Let's talk about what that looks like. So that I open up the possibility of an introduction, and then we talk through it. Now, in-person introductions are usually the best, especially with affluent individuals. They want to get a sense of who you are first before they're going to reveal their private financial situation with you. So that's great. Email introductions are, of course, very easy to get, pretty safe, usually pretty effective. But then I'm going to say, what do you think you need to say to George to get him willing to take my call? Right? What's going on in his life that's important to him right now? Why should he be talking to me? So we talk through it, and here's what happens. We create an engaged introduction, meaning you start to take a stake in this introduction because we've talked about it. You get confidence in actually making it happen because we've talked through it. And so it's less likely to fall through the cracks. And then finally, I want to make sure that we have a time frame. Today's Tuesday. When do you think you'll have a chance to talk to George? Well, I'm going to see him Saturday. Great. I'll call you Monday. We'll see how it went. We'll go from there. So now we have an agreement as to when it's going to happen. And here's a little bonus item. If I know you're talking to George on Saturday, on Friday, you're going to get an email from me that says, Steve, thank you for the opportunity to see if I can be a resource for your friend George. I'll call you Monday as we agreed. So now I'm giving you a reminder in the form of a thank you. And so we're creating a structure to this introduction that feels comfortable to everybody and piques the prospect's interest.
Now, for the people that have been in your system a long time, and there's some heavy hitter, top of the table players that are in your system.
That's right.
When they do this, How long did it take them to really get into this as a regular part of their mantra, their marketing in their own business?
Yeah, quite often it does take, there's a progression here, if you will. So if you haven't been in the habit of being proactive and asking for referrals, you're not going to go from 0 to 60 in one day. Value discussion, we covered that last time. Checking in with our clients a little more often. Promoting referrals, planting the seed, do that for a little bit. Then start to ask, then start to think through this. What most people who have done, who are really good with what I teach, is they've found someone to do it with them. They've got a referral buddy, whether it's someone on their staff, a business partner, and they practice this. And that's how we replace that fear, that doubt, that uncertainty with confidence. It's through practice. And most people do not practice this enough. And because of that, they never gain the confidence to actually use it.
We come back from the break. We're going to talk about how we approach referral prospects in a way that leverages the full value of the referral. I think you're going to find this very interesting. We'll be right back after the commercial. It's not how much money you make for your clients, it's how much money they get to keep, especially in retirement. But retirement income could cause Social Security benefits to be taxed. One tax advantage alternative is life insurance designed as a non-modified endowment contract that can generate tax-free income without taxing Social Security benefits. These contracts offer differing funding options depending upon your client's risk tolerance. For more information on how life insurance can be part of your retirement planning, just email me at steve@downtobusiness.tv. Brought to you by Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to the second segment. Of course, we're with referral coach Bill Cates. Bill's walking us through some of the basics of approaching referral prospects in a way that leverages the full value of the referral. This is kind of a mechanical introduction to this, the why.
Yes. You see, how you approach a new prospect that you've received from a referral or an introduction is different than how you would approach a prospect from another lead source, like a lead or internet, whatever, right? Because we want to leverage that full value, as you mentioned. So one of the most powerful questions we can ask a referral source to help us get the best approach is, what's going on in their life that's important to them? What's going on in his life, her life, their world, their business, if it's B2B, right? And so whatever's going on in their life, if we can link the work we do to what's going on in their life or their business, that's the why they should take our call, right? And so when I find that out, now you can create a more compelling introduction. I can craft a more compelling approach to this new prospect because I can link the work I do to what's going on in their life.
Do you need to tell a client that? Or do I need to give them a little list of life events? Hey, have any of these things happened to your life?
You can.
How do I do that in a pragmatic way?
Yeah, you can. So for instance, in the earlier segment, we talked about pulling back the curtain to our practice, which creates engagement. We teach our clients who we serve the best, how to recognize the types of folks, the life events that are going on in people's lives that would trigger some awareness and some need for the kind of work we do. So yeah, it's great when we teach our clients that. We've built that business friendship. The next level is teaching them a little bit about our world. We've learned about their world. Now they can learn a little bit about our world. So if I know what's most important to you in your life, in your world, and the work I do can be tied to that, which usually can be, because money intersects every aspect of our life, right? Then that's a compelling reason, an approach for why you should take my call.
Now you said that we're actually pulling back the curtain. We're actually allowing our client. This is our client. We already have this client.
Yes.
Into our practice.
Yes.
What are we showing them? What's the display? What are we really wanting them to see?
Well, we're sharing a little bit first of a vision of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, the ultimate client engagement is the client advisory board, which many people know about creating for their practice. That's the ultimate letting someone into my world, right? But without even doing that, we say, you know, Steve, let me share with you a little bit about where I'm headed with my practice and how that impacts you. I always have to say, and how that impacts you, or what that means to you. It's the old feature benefit. Here's what I'm trying to do with my business. Here's what it means to you. And so I may be trying to work with a certain type of individual in a company, in a business, with a certain level of assets or income, whatever it is. I'm teaching you who I serve the best, who I'm trying to attract into my business. You've already shared your vision of your financial future with me. I've helped you create that. I'm helping you get there. Now I can share mine with you a little bit.
Do clients want to really know this?
Many do. The ones who have reached that business friendship level absolutely want to know that. They take a stake in your business.
Are they looking at their business, which you're helping them in there?
Right.
Are they looking at you as a partner now? Have they crossed over to that kind of mentality?
That's exactly right. That's that engaged relationship, right? An engaged relationship is one where you've talked about the client service model, you've had the value discussion, you've elicited feedback, and you're working not just in the relationship, you're working on the relationship. Right? You've heard that expression, working in your business versus working on your business. We also do that with our clients. We don't just work in the relationship with our client, we work on the relationship with our client. And that's the business friendship, that's building, pulling back that curtain, who we serve, how to recognize those people, how to talk about what we do. Ask your clients, if you ever ran into someone and you mentioned me, what do you say? How do you talk about the work I do? And you listen. And I could refine your answer, or I could learn from your answer, because sometimes you say things I wouldn't even think about.
Which could be positive.
Oh, absolutely.
When we're talking about having a commitment action in mind, I'm talking about the client, or am I talking about myself?
The advisor. When you call a prospect, when you're trying to get that appointment, you have a commitment to action in mind. In other words, you have something you want to make happen on this first phone call. It could be to set the appointment, the in-person appointment. It could be just to gain permission to send them some information. It could be to gain permission for the next phone call. Whatever your goal is, make sure you're clear on that, what you're trying to accomplish, and then always have a secondary goal. Here's the problem I've seen with most people in appointment setting, is they kind of wing it when they get on the phone. And they don't use what they learned in that introductory process. And they're just kind of winging it, and they see how the prospect reacts, or they're trying to get to the appointment too soon, right? My friend George recommended I give you a call. Can you meet next Tuesday at 4 or next Wednesday at 3, right? It's just too quick, too fast. Best thing to do is say, look, I don't know whether I can be a resource for you or not, but I certainly, based on George's recommendation, it seems like it makes sense for us to chat a little bit now, and then from here we can decide if it makes sense to get together. So people like that softer approach. You're not just ramming them for the appointment. You're getting to know them a little bit first to see if it makes sense to get together. And that little softer approach makes all the difference in the world, because they trust you a little bit more now, and you're more likely to actually set the appointment.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just hop out to our video archives. And remember, you could be wiser as an educated advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.